grace came and when the liberty of Christ came, that separation was taken out, and so they had this thing that they could speak. So you can find, even though by their the way the synagogue or temple is structured, they still were separate. So a woman who needs something from her husband will shout out from where she is and call out to the attention of her husband and things like that. And so there's a disruption of worship.
The worship, yes.
And so that was what necessitated by historical analysis.
It's when they get home,
you
don't have to
shout across. Get home,
the
and then whatever you want from your husband, you can request from him. So that's the background for those kind of scriptures.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Elikima. I get back to Lady Patricia. The other time you were talking about the various forms of gender-based violence and looking at some of the misconceptions that people hold against GBV. You talked about the economical, withholding money. What are the other types that you like to talk about?
There's social. There's bullying, cyberbullying kind of.
Bullying.
There's physical form of GBV.
That is beating.
Beating, rape, and so, yes. There's also emotional, physical, psychological, and social. Those are the forms. And under these ones you have, when you, like you said, in physical, beating, rape, and stuff like that. Emotional, also, there's this rape and harassment kind of thing. Sexual harassment, within Nigeria that sitting with me this closely may not be harassment, but in some culture, in some places, like Daddy was talking about culture, in some places when you look lustfully at the woman, harassment is seen as a violation of a woman's rights. So also rape. But in some there are cultures differ. Like where I come from, when you talk of rape, if a man decides to have something to do with the woman and she refuses, and he says, after all, I paid your rights, I paid your bride price and everything, and does it is still an abuse. Although by the culture, by their custom, he has not done anything.
Okay, so that's where we talk about husbands now raping wives.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
The first time I heard it, I said, what? What are you talking about? Well, once there is no consent, once there is no
For consent or no consent, some cultures will tell you as long as he paid your rights. I remember
And that's what we're
when I
saying.
got married newly.
Okay.
Once I don't know what happened. My husband reported to my mom that someone was always appearing to him in his dream that he's marrying his wife. Mommy said it's spiritual thing, he was, because we had delay in childbearing and all. So mommy said, are you normal? Did you not pay her bride price? Who did you pay to? Who did that person pay to? You paid bride price to me fully. You are not owing me. So you should exercise authority. Tell that person when he comes again, I am the lawful wedded husband of this woman. So you have no. That is when spirituality and culture marries together there and nullify certain things. So it's not always the GBV stuff we talk about. Maybe it's the universal stuff that does not respect our individual cultures.
Okay, now in some churches till date, men still don't sit together with women.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, even in priesthood, there are places where women cannot climb the podium or stand beside, the pulpit. The pulpit for the man is high up there. Yeah, it's happening.
Okay, so
yes, in some places. And the pulpit for the woman, in case she's going to interpret or be reading the Bible, is down there. Okay? Now, these are some of the things that culture has, brought into the fore. However, we will need to talk about how a pastor should respond when a member discloses that they are experiencing an abuse, maybe at church or even at home. Rev, please help us on that.
Well, firstly, first of all, I will say that the response a pastor should give, number one, investigate it. If you find it to be confirmed, then put them through counseling, especially whoever is the perpetrator. And if
Are you
after
looking
the-
at it from
if
the
you
marriage?
establish
Okay.
that that's the first instance, all right. If it's that's the first instance, and even even that first instance, what's the level of violence?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
If the level of violence is such that you can see that a life is is threatened,
Okay.
then I mean, I know some pastors may not agree with me, but I, as a pastor, will ask for some bit of space. All right, so that we can do a proper, a thorough counseling for the perpetrator and see whether there's hope of a change, and all that. If that can be established, of course, then and we know that it's safe for the victim to return, then you do that. But like that's I said, if it's just for the first time that it is, but if it's you investigate and it has been repeated
yeah.
and the person has been keeping it silent, but now he couldn't take it anymore, then you also that it's a more drastic approach. Then probably you start threatening. Bible says if a man sins, especially when it comes to sexual sins, it says rebuke openly. These things also are things that we should rebuke openly, because I know that sin that is exposed, all right, it's difficult to be, it's you're on the way on the path of making that sin to be repetitive. So if you threaten exposure on the pulpit, and I don't mind doing those kind of stand on the pulpit and say such and such is being
it's happening with brother so and
brother so and so, but we are working with them. All right.
Okay, so you're looking at it from the home perspective now.
Okay.
What about if it's outside of home? I mean, they're not married.
If they're not married, well, if
Straight to police station.
if they are not married, then we have to bring in external
Yeah, okay.
people to
Maybe people that are into dispute resolution,
yes.
and then security
agencies, people who are
and
versed-
maybe even youth care
and
development and
even
empowerment
youth care
initiatives.
development to be contacted, because they are versed in handling things like that. So
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, you are a champion of GBV, Madam Lady Patricia. So, how do you think churches can safely hold perpetrators accountable? How do you advise the church? They say, no, this is what should be done. This is the gravity. I wouldn't like you to smile to someone that just hit me.
Thank you very much. Oftentimes, like he has said rightly, if it's been a constant thing, if it's been perpetrated over and over, you know definitely there is life threatening. A drastic approach has to follow. And maybe from the church I attend, we have room for such. Thank God you know of JDPC and stuff like that could mediate in the matter. Oftentimes the issue is separate, so that there won't be a
give yourself spaces,
that would take life before anything. Because while Daddy was talking about cancel, call, before that time, something could go wrong. So you first separate them if it's a couple issue, and if it's a child. At least in my church, I've taken a child off the parents. The wife is a child brought in by the wife, given birth to outside before she married the man. The man now molests the child in question, and she keeps saying she doesn't want it exposed. Okay, take away this child first. But I reported myself so that in case it turns around, boomerangs, and they say
that you're aware,
kidnapped their child or something before, because measures has to be taken. So I think the first thing is first to separate the people involved, so that there won't be issues like that as in a life-threatening issue. Then secondly, when you talk of counseling, is the person even willing to listen? Open remand, you call in first. I normally what I do, call in elders. I feel there is nobody that will not have someone older or that he respects or regards his words within the community, maybe church community or somehow. Call in those people, talk to Lagbaja. He has been misbehaving, doing this and this. So if they call him and talk to him, and there's his adamant is not kind of changing, yielding, then other actions could be taken. I advise go to welfare, do anything necessary so that life, because we've had cases of death of wives and stuff like that. Talk of this woman, the singer, a whole lot of them. So because of, since I heard that, since those occurrences, it's difficult managing issues like that. It's very, very difficult, because at the end of the day you end up with Hadainu. To avoid such separation, first you separate them, then start the counseling stuff. Counsel the man, the woman. Are you still willing to go back to the man in case he changes? If yes, fine. If no, you think of weigh the issue at the end product. Are you able to? And that's why economy comes in. If a woman, we talk
is
about empowered
financially,
yes, there you can take care of your children